Good morning. Welcome to Morning Special. 여러분 안녕하세요. 2월 11일 화요일 최수진의 Morning Special입니다. We literally witnessed history being written as our very own star director stood in the limelight on the biggest stage of the movie industry, Hollywood itself. Not once, not twice, definitely not thrice, but 4 times. A feat like no other. Bong Joon-ho has set a new standard on the silver screen. 네, 봉준호 감독의 기생충이 미국 아카데미상 4개 부문을 수상하면서 영화사를 새로 썼습니다. 뉴욕포스트는 봉준호는 성자였다는 제목의 기사에서 봉 감독의 특별한 수상 소감을 다뤘는데요. 봉 감독은 감독상 수상 소감에서 영화 공부를 할 때 가장 개인적인 것이 가장 창의적이라고 책에서 읽었다. 그 말은 마틴 스콜세이지의 말이었다. 이렇게 말하자 객석에서는 기립박수가 쏟아졌습니다. 또한 AFP-통신은 이날 헐리우드에서의 승리는 그를 새로운 단계로 끌어올릴 것이라고 높이 평가했고요. 영국 BBC 방송도 봉준호 감독이 이번 수상과 함께 아시아를 대변하는 위상도 갖게 됐다고 보도했습니다. Well, with goosebumps and even tears, all happy ones I must add, I'm sure that we all sent director Bong and his team from the bottom of our hearts our most heartfelt congratulations and gratitude. Truly remarkable indeed. With that in mind, here is today's first quiz question. After watching director Bong's Parasite taking 4 Oscars home yesterday, including Best Director and Best Picture, the most suitable reaction would be 1번, meh. 2번, just 4. 3번, 대박. 가장 적절한 반응을 골라주시면 되겠습니다. 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 뉴욕타임스 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 여러분의 소식과 소감 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문도 보내주세요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시면 되고요. 반디 게시판은 무료로 이용할 수 있습니다. Now let's get the show started by greeting the one, the only, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to our listeners. Parasite, I said it when it came out. I said it when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I gave myself a little pat on the back yesterday because I said this is going to win
Yeah, you did.
a bunch of Oscars.
And you were right.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Now, if you still haven't seen Parasite, it's not for everyone. It's a really dark, twisted film, right?
My reaction when I first watched the movie was it was a disturbing movie, and for some reason it kept lingering in my head, but for all the right reasons, I think, because it makes you think about society and class and disparities and all of that.
Well, I think it was such a great movie because, and this is what I talked about before, every movie has a hero or a heroine and a villain, someone to cheer for and someone to cheer against.
Yeah.
Parasite had none of that.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't know how you were supposed to feel,
It's
right?
such a cleverly made movie because of what you just mentioned there. There's no apparent hero. Also, there's no apparent villain.
Exactly.
And at the same time, the title is Parasite. So it seems like you know who the parasite is at first, but then as the movie goes along, you question the whole concept of, actually,
we are all parasites.
Are we all parasites? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's such a really great movie. Now,
It is, yeah.
A couple of the prizes, I thought, well, that's in the bag, right? Best international film, I had no question about that.
Yeah.
Screenplay, you never really know with screenplay, right? But best director,
Yeah.
oh, wow. And then Best Picture. I mean, what an amazing accomplishment for him and for his team and for his cast and for cinema in Korea in general. And it's just another thing that is going to open the door for more Korean culture around the world now. It's so exciting.
Absolutely. You know, every single day these days, we've been starting off the show with news about the update on the coronavirus, which is also very important.
Of course.
But we did want to spend a little time today opening up with the latest news from Hollywood. And a big congratulations once again to director Bong and Parasite.
Everybody's talking about it, right?
네, 그렇습니다. 김태용 님도요. 제92회 아카데미 사관왕 수상작 Parasite 축하드립니다. 이렇게 사연 보내주셨어요. 한국 영화 101년 역사 최초입니다. 백범 김구 선생님, 문화강국의 꿈이 실현되고 있습니다. 대한민국 만세 이렇게 보내주셨네요. That's right. Yes, last year was the 100th anniversary of Korea's cinema. This is the 101st year, and we have made history.
We certainly have. Well, we
Well,
haven't.
not we, but
he has, and his team has.
I feel like
Yeah.
I can say we
Well,
for some reason.
that's the thing, is that we're all feeling so proud about it, right?
It does feel quite personal.
Absolutely, it does.
All right. Well, with that said, we do have to talk about the latest preventative measures once again with the coronavirus. And we've been doing that every day these days. We started off with things you can do in the classroom for students. And yesterday we talked about masks. We will continue talking about some of these preventative measures today as well.
That's right. You know, these days, wearing a mask is understood to be a general preventive measure, either indoors or outdoors, and especially when using public transportation. However, the question is it necessary to wear one even when a person thinks of themselves as being healthy?
네, 신종 코로나 바이러스 예방을 위한 안내 계속해서 요즘 오프닝과 함께 드리고 있습니다. 오늘은요, 이제 건강에도 마스크를 써야 하나요? 이 질문에 대한 얘기를 좀 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. Do you still have to wear a mask if you're absolutely healthy?
Well, when a sick person wears a mask, it basically helps the person to stop the germs in their body from infecting others via air. However, wearing a mask is not meant to be worn only by sick people. So a mask can act as a barrier that helps healthy people from contracting harmful germs in the air. So to answer your question, Sue, yes, absolutely. Wearing a mask not only helps prevent germs from a sick person from infecting others, but it also blocks germs that are already in the air from entering your body. And that's why it's important that both sick and healthy people must wear masks, especially when you are out in public places, to prevent not only the further spread of the disease, but contracting one as well.
네, 그렇습니다. 모두가 마스크 착용을 하시는 게 좋습니다. 바이러스 보균자뿐만 아니라 건강한 사람도 마스크를 제대로 착용해야 균이 전파되는 것을 막을 수가 있습니다. I wish we could wear our masks on air, but that would sort of muffle out the sounds, wouldn't it?
It would not sound very good, that's right.
Right. Well, please do have your masks ready, and if it's a disposable one, make sure to get a new one every day if possible, although I have to say they are in high demand and hard to get these days as well. I have a few in my bag if you need any, by the way.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, with that said, let's start with today's global headlines. 이제 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
Researchers have found that the incubation period for the novel coronavirus could reach up to 24 days in rare cases.
신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증의 최장 잠복기가 24일에 이를 수 있다는 중국 학자들의 연구 결과가 나왔습니다.
Testing on board the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked in Japan has revealed about 65 more confirmed cases of novel coronavirus, bringing the total figure to 135.
일본 크루즈선 다이아몬드 프린세스에서 신종 코로나 감염자가 65명 추가로 확인돼 총 135명으로 늘어났습니다.
Qatar and Kuwait have advised all their citizens to avoid unnecessary travel to Singapore.
쿠웨이트와 카타르가 자국민에게 싱가포르 방문을 자제하라고 권고했습니다.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that the U.S. plans to deploy intermediate-range nuclear missiles in the Asia-Pacific region.
세르게이 라브로프 러시아 외무장관이 미국이 아시아 태평양 지역에 중단거리 미사일을 배치하면 대응에 나설 것이라고 밝혔습니다.
The Philippines has moved to end the franchise of the country's leading broadcast network in a push against media outlets that have been critical of President Rodrigo Duterte's leadership.
필리핀 정부가 로드리고 두테르테 대통령의 비판적인 현지 최대 방송사의 사업권 취소를 추진해 언론 탄압 논란이 일고 있습니다. And if you'd like to listen to the headlines again, you can do so by visiting our website. 모닝 스페셜 홈페이지에 들어가셔서 무료로 지금 읽어드린 헤드라인 다시 들으실 수 있습니다. Let's go over the headlines.
Headline number one this morning, researchers have found that the incubation period for the novel coronavirus could reach up to 24 days in rare cases.
신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증의 최장 잠복기가 24일에 이를 수 있다는 중국 학자들의 연구 결과가 나왔습니다.
So this new revelation came out in a study published yesterday by a group of Chinese researchers on medRxiv. That is a preprint site for scientific medical papers. And the report was written by 37 different specialists, including Dr. Zhong Nanshan, who is the leader of a team of medical experts appointed by China's National Health Commission to deal with the coronavirus. So what they did was they collected data from 1,099 confirmed coronavirus patients at 552 different hospitals in 31 different Chinese provinces and municipalities. And among them, 2.09% are medical workers, 43.95% were residents in Wuhan. More than a quarter of them have not been to Wuhan or met any returnees from that area. But yes, what they did find is that it could be in your body for up to 24 days. The incubation period could be that long.
That's double what people have been saying so far.
Nearly, yes.
Almost,
two weeks is what they were saying, right?
그렇습니다. 중국의 중난산 중국 공정원 원사가 이끈 연구진이요. 이번에 이렇게 논문을 발표했습니다. 그 호흡기 질병의 최고 권위자라고 해요. 이 연구는 중국의 확진 환자 1,000여 명을 대상으로 연구가 진행이 됐고 한 550개 이상의 병원에서 이제 확진 환자의 데이터를 얻은 것으로 이렇게 밝혀졌습니다. 그런데 지금까지는 14일의 잠복기 그게 최대다 이렇게 우리가 알고 있습니다. 근데 이 연구 결과에 따르면은 그것보다 한 열흘 이상 24일까지도 잠복기가 갈 수 있다라는 거죠.
Yeah, a couple of different important points to talk about here, though. Professor Paul Hunter is a professor of medicine at the University of East Anglia, and he said that this suggestion that the incubation period may extend up to 24 days is definitely worrying, especially for people currently in quarantine who may therefore have to stay in quarantine or isolation for a longer period. But he also added this: the median incubation period still remains very short at 3 days. So when they say it could be 24 days, that doesn't mean that it's a big possibility. It just means that the possibility does exist.
네, 그렇습니다. 중국의 이번 연구 결과에 대해서 학계에서는요. 믿기 어렵다는 반응도 나오고 있습니다. 왜냐하면 이제 개별 사례가 이런 사례가 몇몇 있었지만 아주 극소수다라고 하면서 이것을 일반화하기에는 너무 이르다. 글로벌 학계 검토가 따라야 할 것이다. 이런 얘기가 나오고 있습니다. 근데 만약에 24일이 잠복기가 맞다라고 하면은 지금의 어떤 예방 방식이나 통제 방식이 많이 달라질 수도 있겠죠. We may have to see a change in some of the incubation and some of the quarantine measures if this is the case. But as you said, a lot of scholars are saying this can't be generalized, not yet.
Yes, exactly. Well, the study itself was funded by 4 different Chinese authorities: the Ministry of Science and Technology, the National Health Commission, the National Natural Science Foundation, and also the Department of Science and Technology of Guangdong Province. But it has not yet been evaluated by other scientists, and its findings should not be used to guide clinical practice. That information is according to their website.
The research also hints at the possibility of a super contaminator who may be somewhere, spreading the disease. They're not sure, but they say there is a possibility of this person who has the contaminant and is going around spreading it.
Scary. Another 3,000, over 3,000 cases reported in China. Again, an increase of 15% compared to Saturday. That put an end to a series of daily declines, right? Because we were talking about that, but we were also talking about the fact that experts were warning about that even though the numbers were going up, but yet at a slower rate,
Right.
that slowdown period could come to an end, and that's exactly what happened. Also, Professor Paul Hunter warned of this. He did raise the possibility of patients getting infected on more than one occasion. So if you had it and then you were cleared, there is a possibility, according to Paul Hunter, that you
Right.
could get it again.
We do have to stress one more time, these are not factual stats that we're talking
Yes.
about, but it's the research that's come out. 연구 결과라는 점을 한 번 더 강조하겠습니다. 자, 두 번째 헤드라인으로 넘어가 볼게요.
Testing on board the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked in Japan has revealed about 65 more confirmed cases of novel coronavirus, bringing the total to 135.
일본 크루즈선 다이아몬드 프린세스에서 신종 코로나 감염자가 65명 추가로 확인돼 총 135명으로 늘어났습니다.
That number came out yesterday, that number increasing it to 135, the number of infections on the ship, which is docked in Yokohama. That number is according to domestic broadcasters TBS and NHK. They were reporting that, citing Japanese health ministry sources. The Diamond Princess, the ship itself, was placed in quarantine for 2 weeks when it got to Yokohama, which is south of Tokyo, by the way, on the 3rd of February. Initially, it was after a man who disembarked in Hong Kong was diagnosed with the virus. Now that number is much higher, and now quarantined passengers on the boat, they're also warning of depression setting in over this confinement as well.
Yeah, overall, there's about 3,700 passengers on this cruise ship.
1,100 of which are crew and a passenger capacity of around 2,670.
아, I see.
Yeah.
그렇군요. 총 한 3,700명 정도가 타고 있는 이 크루즈선 다이아몬드 프린세스호가요. 지금 요코하마항 앞바다에 격리 형태로 정박 중입니다. 그런데 여기서 이제 어제 감염자가 65명 추가로 확인됐다는 소식이 들어왔고요. 총 135명으로 늘어났습니다. As you said, the people on the ferry, on the cruise ship, they're not in the best of conditions because the rooms they're in, at first glance, it looks like, they have their own rooms. It's all very luxurious, but not really because those rooms are not being cleaned out.
Yeah.
And they're running out of supplies and food and things like that as well.
Not only that, I've been on a cruise before, and they do have luxury rooms on a cruise ship, but the rooms that, people who are on a budget stay in, when I was on the ship, those are not luxury rooms. Those are smaller than a university dorm room.
Yeah.
They often have bunk beds in them. So it would really feel like prison. And another thing that would make it feel like prison is that the passengers, they are allowed to go out to get some fresh air, but they are doing so in shifts. So they can go out in a small group of people to get some fresh air, but then it's straight back to your room, just like it is in prison, I guess.
Right. Oh my goodness. And apparently trash is piling up as well. Not the best of places to be. But,
one passenger posted an audio clip on Twitter of the captain announcing the discovery of 66 new cases. So I think, too, the passengers must be on edge because every time there's an announcement, they fear for the worst, right?
Absolutely. 네, 어제 이제 추가로 확진자 판정을 받은 환자들 중에는 한국 국적자는 없었다고 합니다. 자, 다음 뉴스로 넘어가 볼게요.
Qatar and Kuwait have advised all their citizens to avoid unnecessary travel to Singapore.
쿠웨이트와 카타르가 자국민에게 싱가포르 방문을 자제하라고 권고했습니다.
Citizens of both countries were advised to take necessary precautions and to follow instructions issued by Singapore authorities through the Ministry of Health website. Britain has also included Singapore in a list of countries from which returning travelers who developed symptoms should self-isolate. And Kuwait has asked its citizens not to travel to Singapore at all.
Kuwait has become the first country ever since Singapore raised its, I suppose, alert from the yellow to orange level to advise its nationals not to go to Singapore.
Yes, and part of the reason, if not the whole reason for that, I'm sure, is because the coronavirus is spreading more quickly in Singapore now. More than half of the 43 people infected being locally transmitted diseases. 6 of the patients are in critical condition. And Singapore is now the country with the highest number of coronavirus patients outside of China. That does exclude the cruise ship, which is docked in Japan, but that's
Right.
classified as an international ship, not something assigned to a country.
I see. Last month, there was something called the Singapore Conference, where a lot of experts gathered from around the world. And people who attended that conference, some people were confirmed with the coronavirus after they returned to their respective countries in Asia and in Europe. And so people are on high alert about going to Singapore for that reason.
People going to Singapore and people coming
out of-
from Singapore
Yeah.
as well, because India has started screening passengers on flights coming in from Singapore and also Thailand too. So they are extending that screening to passengers from those two places.
네, 싱가포르가 보건 경보를 옐로우에서 오렌지로 한 단계 올렸습니다. 이렇게 보건 경보를 올린 이후 쿠웨이트가 첫 번째로 여행 금지 권고를 내리게 됐다라는 소식입니다. 다음 러시아 소식으로 가볼게요.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that the U.S. plans to deploy intermediate-range nuclear missiles in the Asia-Pacific region.
세르게이 라브로프 러시아 외무장관이 미국이 아시아 태평양 지역에 중단거리 미사일을 배치하면 대응에 나설 것이라고 밝혔습니다.
And the countries that the Russian foreign minister is talking about, South Korea and Japan, said that they have no plans to deploy such missiles, but they do not see it as impossible if the United States really wants to deploy them there. This, again, is according to the Russian foreign minister. He added, too, that islands in the middle of the Pacific are also being mentioned as areas for missile deployment. This is his quote: "The geographical distances are such that if American intermediate range and shorter range missiles are placed at these points, a significant part of Russia's territory will be under attack."
The US last year decided to step out of the INF treaty, and because of that, Russia is saying now it is very likely that America may fire these missiles in, as you said, possibly Korea or Japan. These are still speculations, of course, and Russia says if that happens, we will surely retaliate.
Yes, the United States did pull out of one, but they do have one that still exists, and that's the New START Arms Control Treaty. But that is set to end in a very short amount of time. So Russia said that they are ready to start negotiations again. And the United States, according to Russia, they are not answering phone calls. They're not responding about the negotiations right now. That New START agreement went into effect in 2011, and it is set to expire February 5th, 2021, so almost exactly 1 year from now.
네, 그렇습니다. 뉴스타트는 지금 현재 미국과 러시아 사이에 남아있는 유일한 전략 핵무기 통제 협정입니다. Let's check our final headline.
The Philippines has moved to end the franchise of the country's leading broadcast network in a push against media outlets that have been critical of President Rodrigo Duterte's leadership.
필리핀 정부가 로드리고 두테르테 대통령의 비판적인 현지 최대 방송사의 사업권 취소를 추진해 언론 탄압 논란이 일고 있습니다.
The Philippine Solicitor General Jose Calida lodged a complaint with the country's highest court, accusing ABS-CBN Corporation and its subsidiary ABS-CBN Convergence of violating the operating franchise it was granted by Congress, and that is set to expire in March. And this move comes despite the fact that the House of Representatives in the country has yet to start deliberating several bills supporting the renewal of the franchise, but it was not clear how Mr. Kalida's petition would affect that legislation.
Now, ABS-CBN has been quite critical towards Duterte's handling of drugs, for example, and a lot of the policies that he's put forward. And he is saying, I'm not very happy with the way that, covering my story in the press.
Yeah, they have been critical of his anti-drug campaign. That anti-drug campaign has left nearly 6,000 people dead since Mr. Duterte took office in 2016. So if you are critical of his policies, apparently, according to this, he does not like that. Another online news site, Rappler, is in trouble as well. So we'll see what will happen there. Mr. Duterte, he has personally gone after Rappler before, arguing that it was partly owned by foreign investors, but then there was money and shares shifted around to Filipino partners. So it seems like that site is out of trouble. But in terms of the main broadcasters, we will have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember covering some of the drastic measures that Duterte had been taking when it comes to anti-drug policies. One of those, I think, was, he said, I will kill all of the people who have meddled with drugs. Some drastic measures with a good cause possibly, but not too sure about how he's handling the situation.
Very drastic, and he does have his critics for that policy as well. Just very quickly, if the government does succeed in revoking the network's franchise, they say that ABS-CBN could still operate in some legal gray zone, as they're calling it, perhaps over the internet, and they're saying that this would not likely be the death of the company.
네, 그렇습니다. 필리핀 정부에서 이제 ABS-CBN 방송사의 사업권을 취소해달라는 청원서를 제출했다는 소식이었습니다. 앞서 헤드라인, 네 번째 헤드라인에 싱가포르 얘기를 했는데요. 청취자분 하재은 님이 싱가포르에서 살다가 1월 말에 귀국했습니다. 헤드라인 3였군요. 네, 싱가포르 동료 말로는 지금 쌀, 휴지 같은 생필품들도 슈퍼에서 사라지고 있다고 하네요. 마스크, 소독제도 살 수 없음은 물론이고요. 라고 보내주셨습니다. The current situation in Singapore apparently is that they're running out of rice, tissue paper, masks, obviously, sanitizers, you just can't get them anymore because everyone has already hoarded them.
Just your daily necessities are running out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Hajeonim, for that. Those were our headlines. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz.
After watching director Bong's Parasite taking 4 Oscars yesterday, including Best Director and Best Picture, the most suitable reaction would be number 1, meh. Number 2, just 4. Or number 3, day back.
네.
2 possible answers, but we're looking for the most suitable reaction, I guess.
그렇습니다. 아마 많은 분들이 이걸 외치지 않았을까 하는 생각이 듭니다. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 5분께 보내드릴 테니까 정답 계속해서 보내주세요. Elton John and Taron Egerton의 Love Me Again 노래 듣고 와서 여러분의 사연과 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. You're listening to Morning Special. It's Tuesday. 6450님이요. 어제 혼자 실황을 보면서 어찌나 소리를 질렀던지 이웃에서 축구 골 넣는 줄 알았을 거예요. 4골이나! 라고 하셨습니다. 제 생각에는요. 이웃집에서도 같은 시각 같이 소리를 지르고 있었을 겁니다. Yeah, it was just like watching a football match and, the moment when the goal goes in.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that yesterday.
Exactly. But instead of saying, goal, you say, Oscar!
Yay! Or 대박! One of those.
Right.
It was amazing. 이지환 님이요. 통역가 샤론 최도 엄청 인상 깊었습니다. Yeah, Sharon Choi, the interpreter, I have to say, she
Incredible.
has been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I speak both languages pretty fluently, and yet I know that it's very, very hard to do this simultaneous interpreting. But she was spot on with everything, and I feel like the reason for that is because she herself is an aspiring movie director. She has studied movies, so she
see.
knows exactly what Pong is talking about.
She's familiar with the terminology.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean, you know, sure, it's incredibly impressive to be able to switch back and forth
Really
from one
good.
language to another
Yeah.
and accurately say what the person said. But then consider as well that you're standing on a stage at the Oscars. The next thing, you're standing in front of a CNN camera.
Yeah.
I mean, these are high pressure situations.
Absolutely.
And her focus is not broken at all. She still did a perfect job. She
did.
is very, very good at what she does.
Yeah, I think she's only 25 or something. She has a really bright future ahead of her. And in fact, what was interesting was after Parasite won Best Picture and everything yesterday, there was another press conference where one of the reporters, I think he was from a Mexican news agency, he said, "So, Director Pong, do you have any plans to work with Sharon Choi in the future, your interpreter? Because I understand she studied movies and, you know, she's hoping to be a director one day." And he was like, "Sure, why not? You know, give me your works, give me your scripts, and we can work something out in the future."
Perfect.
So maybe she'll be the next Pong.
I think the list of actors lining up to work with Bong Joon-ho now,
Yeah.
not just Korean actors, of course Korean actors, but I'm talking about Hollywood A-listers,
Yeah.
because people are saying they love this guy. They love Bong Joon-ho, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And he has such a nice personality. He's funny. He makes jokes. The CNN report that I saw yesterday, the reporter was asking, you know, there was a moment where you looked down, you were on the stage, but you looked down at your Oscar, and it was kind of like you forgot where you were. And Bong Joon-ho said, "I looked down at the Oscar, and we locked eyes." And then he did the same thing to the CNN reporter. He said, "See, look at it. Look at it."
yeah.
Yeah, so he's really funny too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And can we also mention Darcy Paquette again, who we've both met?
Yep.
You know, he hasn't been getting quite as much coverage as Bong Joon-ho and Sharon Choi and the movie itself, but, you know, he did an amazing job with the subtitles.
He certainly did, and that might not seem to be such an important thing, but it is, because when you're showing the film to an international audience,
Yeah.
it needs to be translated in a way that humor gets translated,
맞아요.
also using terminology that people in any particular country are familiar with.
Yeah,
so he did a fantastic job too. Everybody who worked on that film did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
My friend was in that. I forgot.
What?
I should
Oh.
mention this.
Yeah?
My friend Andy was in that film. Do
Which
you remember at the very, very, very end of the film, there's a foreign family living in the house, and there's a white guy standing in the window, right?
Oh, the new family that comes to live in the house.
That's my friend Andy. So my friend Andy was in it. He's an Oscar winner, kind of. Not really, but kind of. So shout out to Andy this morning.
아, 그렇군요. 네, 모두 축하드립니다. 야마기시 미나커님이요. 기생충 축하해요. 같은 아시아 사람으로 기뻐요 하셨습니다. 그렇습니다. Great for Asian representation. 허문영님이요. 안녕하세요. 수진쌤, 스티브쌤. 오늘 제 생일입니다. 동생이랑 어제 갑자기 결정돼서 제주도 왔어요. 한라산 등산하고 올레길 걸으려고요. 올해 관광 통역 안내사로 새 출발 잘 할 수 있게 응원해 주세요 하셨습니다. Today is my birthday, and yesterday my sibling, I don't know the gender, and I just decided at the last minute to come to Jeju. So we
Nice.
are here right now. Apparently they're in Jeju.
Awesome.
And we're going to take a stroll around the Ole trails and go up the mountain Halasan. This year I'm going to start afresh as a tourism interpreter, a tourist interpreter, 관광통역 안내사. And I would love for you guys to give me some power. Well, all the best to you. 화이팅입니다.
Absolutely. And yeah, enjoy your time in Jeju-do on your birthday. Happy birthday to you in Jeju.
네, 축하드립니다. 올해 새 출발도 화이팅입니다.
Have some huktaeji and also get the kimchi at the bottom of the tray. You know what I mean? So the fat from the huktaeji goes into the kimchi.
맞아.
You get the thinly sliced potatoes. You put those on the grill.
흑돼지 꼭 드세요. 기관지에도 좋습니다. 너무 맛있고요. Thank you all for your messages. Keep sending those in and the quiz answers as well. If you have any questions, send those away. We have 5 New York Times 1-month subscriptions waiting for their new owners. 자, 그러면은 뉴스 포커스 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 봉준호 감독의 기생충이 올해 제92회 아카데미 시상식에서 최고권위인 작품상을 비롯해 감독상, 각본상, 국제영화상까지 4관왕을 차지했죠. 101년 한국 영화 역사뿐만 아니라 92년 오스카 시상식 역사도 새로 썼다는 평입니다. Let's listen to the story.
Bong Joon-ho's sensational black comedy Parasite has bagged 4 Oscar titles at the 92nd Academy Awards, including Best Picture, to become the first non-English language film to achieve such a feat. It beat out strong competition from 1917 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the win. Other nominees were The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Ford vs. Ferrari, Little Women, Joker, and Marriage Story. It is the first time that a non-English film has been chosen for the Best Picture award by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the more than 90 years of its history. Parasite also won Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film.
That's right. Parasite bagged 4 Oscar titles. We have some of the footage. This is the moment when the announcement was made.
Yeah, that's right.
보이는 라디오로 수상이 발표된 그 순간 그 영상을 보여드리고 있습니다. 저도 어제 실황으로 봤습니다. 굉장히 감동적이더라고요.
I missed that moment too.
아, 그래요.
Yeah, I missed it live on television. I caught the best director, but I missed that moment, and that's the one I really wanted to see.
Yeah, it was great.
But anyway, an incredible film, an incredible feat. Another friend, wrote an article which I thought was quite interesting, talking about, because now it's going to be seen by the entire world, I think, right? And he wrote an article about the cultural things in Parasite that you should know about if you want to understand the film a little bit better.
Yeah.
One of the things was the half-basement apartment.
Yes.
Another thing was the mosquito spraying.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because if you're from
Do you not do that in other
No,
countries?
if you're from Canada, for
okay.
example, you know, I don't know about every country, but if you're from Canada, I've never seen that mosquito spray. When I first came to Korea, I wondered what is happening
Right.
when the trucks came around. So I thought it was a really good article that my friend wrote about, you know, just some little tiny things from the film that would help you understand it better.
Absolutely. 이 영화가 흥행하면서 부분 영화에 나왔던 요소들도 함께 크게 화제가 되고 있습니다. 지금 설명해 주신 그 소독하는 장면도 그렇고 그다음에 여러 영어도 짜파구리 이런 용어들도 지금 외국에서 공부를 하고 있다고 해요. 이게 무슨 뜻인가라고 하면서 한국 문화를 공부하고 있는 모습이 굉장히 대견합니다. 자, 파라사이트가 이렇게 4개의 상을 거머쥐었다라는 의미로 bagged라고 했어요.
Yeah, that's right. Pardon me. So to bag means to succeed in getting something or to win. If we're talking about the context of awards, you're talking about winning awards. So when it says Parasite bagged 4 Oscar titles, it means it won 4 Oscars. But you can use it in other ways too. If you successfully get something, almost like winning, let's say you go to the airport and you're at check-in and they say, oh, actually, sir, actually, ma'am, we are going to upgrade you to business class today. Then you can say, I bagged a seat in business class. And it means that you successfully, acquired something or won something.
네, 획득하다라는 의미가 있는데요. 직역을 하면은 가방에 넣다라는 그런 뉘앙스처럼 bag 이걸 동사로 쓴 겁니다. bagged 뭐뭐를 얻다, 획득하다. 여기서는 거머쥐다. 이렇게 보시면 되겠죠? feat는 어떤 성취를 말합니다.
Accomplishment, yep.
Yes. All right. Well, let's remind our listeners of the quiz one more time. Shall we? No, I don't think we have time to do the reread. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz one more time.
Sure. After watching director Bong Joon-ho's Parasite taking 4 Oscars yesterday, including Best Director and Best Picture, the most suitable reaction would be number 1, meh. Number 2, just 4. Or number 3, 대박.
네, 정답 계속해서 보내주시고요. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 총 5분께 보내드리겠습니다. 노래 듣고 와서 다음 뉴스 포커스 살펴볼게요. 이번에는 존 쿠거의 Hurts So Good 듣고 오겠습니다. 자, 다음 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. 인도네시아 정부가 수니파 극단주의 무장 조직 이슬람 국가 ISIS에 합류했다가 현재 시리아 난민 캠프에 있는 자국민 600여 명을 본국으로 데려올지 딜레마에 빠졌습니다. Let's listen to the story.
Indonesia is in the midst of a national debate on whether or not the repatriation of some 600 former members of terrorist group ISIS is the right thing to do from a national security and humanitarian standpoint. The former ISIS members, who consist of both those who willingly went to join the group and those such as women and children who were forced to come along, had previously burned their Indonesian passports as a symbolic gesture to renounce their Indonesian citizenship. With the terrorist group all but pushed out of its strongholds in Syria and Iraq last year, there have been calls to repatriate the Indonesians who are now practically stranded in the region.
네, 인도네시아가 딜레마에 빠졌습니다. 국가 안보를 우선해야 한다라는 입장의 목소리를 내는 사람들은 아이시스에 합류했던 인도네시아 국민들 데려오지 말아라. 이런 입장이고요. 그렇지만 공경에 빠진 자국민을 어떻게 모른 채 할 수 있겠느냐. 데려와라. 이런 두 가지 목소리가 있는데 5월에서 6월 정도 사이에 결정이 날 것이다. 이렇게 어제 밝혔습니다.
What do you do in this situation?
Yeah.
This is really difficult because, you have people who joined
Terrorist groups.
of their own accord.
Yep.
Right? And of their own accord means it was their choice. But you have women and children who were forced to go. So do those people, do they deserve the same treatment? Some might argue no. But then how do you know who joined of their own accord and who didn't join of their own accord?
Right.
I mean, this is a really, really, really difficult situation for Indonesia to be in at this moment.
그렇습니다. 조코 위도도 대통령도요. 지금 이 딜레마를 놓고 어떻게 해야 될지 결정을 하지 못하는 상황인 것 같습니다. 근데 며칠 전에는 지난주였던 것 같아요. 이런 얘기를 하긴 했어요. 만약에 내 개인 의견을 묻는다면 나는 반대다. 하지만 정부는 여전히 이제 그 아이시스 이 테러 조직에 합류했던 인도네시아인들이 귀환을 하면 이 나라에 어떤 영향을 미칠지, 이 개개인에 어떤 영향을 미칠지 계속해서 지금 검토 중이다. 이렇게 조심스럽게 얘기를 꺼냈어요.
I think one of the issues has to be if you made that decision once, what's to stop you from making that decision again?
Yeah, and who knows if you're really out of ISIS or if you're maybe spying for them. So lots of speculations and questions up in the air.
You're right. But ISIS itself has all but been pushed out of its strongholds in Syria, and that has left this group of people stranded in the region. So just very quickly, a couple of expressions there. Pushed out. Pushed out equals forced out, and it means you leave but not by your choice. It's someone else's choice. So if I'm standing by a door in a room and Sue does not want me in the room anymore, she can physically remove me from the room and she can push me out the door. Now,
Which is what I do every single day after the show. I push Steve out.
Every day before 9 a.m. And that's what happened with ISIS in Syria and Iraq. They got pushed out. It wasn't their choice to leave, but they did leave the area. And stranded, when you're stranded somewhere, it means you're stuck and you can't go anywhere.
네, 밀려나다라는 뜻의 be pushed out가 여기서 쓰였습니다. And stranded Means that you're left alone?
Yeah, we did the story from New Zealand, right? Remember that area where the roads were flooded? I think we did the story last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the fact that they would have to remove the people who were there by boat or by air
Yes.
because they were stranded because the roads got washed out. They were stuck there and they couldn't go anywhere.
그렇죠. 이제 오도 가도 못하는 상황이 됐을 때 be stranded라고 할 수 있습니다. Okay, well, those were our news-focused stories. Now, what is the answer to the quiz?
After watching director Bong Joon-ho's Parasite take 4 Oscars yesterday, including Best Director and Best Picture, the most suitable reaction would be... I guess the answer would be number 3, 대박. But I think number 2 could be possible as well. Only 4? Just 4? Why not 5? Why not 6? Why not all of them?
Alright. 네, 3번이 정답이 되겠습니다. 정말 대박이었어요. 지금도 그 감동이 살아있는 것 같습니다. 한서영님, 주일남님, 구연범님, 5157님, 2409 끝번호 쓰시는 분 모두 축하드립니다. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드릴게요. 네, 구연범 님이요. I'm currently in the hospital. I'm sick. 병원에서 병실 환자들과 환호했어요. But I was so thrilled, as were my ward mates yesterday when we saw the footage of the Oscars. 사관왕 자랑스럽습니다.
Uplifting moment for everybody in the country.
Definitely. Well, do get well soon. Okay, Steve, what is today's expression?
Let's do this, in the bag, because we learned the expression Parasite bagged 4 awards, which means they won, right? Let's do in the bag. I used the expression at the beginning of the show when I said, well, I expected it to win Best International Picture.
Yeah.
I think that was in the bag. So in the bag is an expression that means guaranteed victory.
Right.
So when you say, I think, referring to your opinion, I think Best International Picture was in the bag, then it was guaranteed to win that prize.
맞아요. 아까는 이제 동사로서 bag를 쓰게 되면은 얻다, 획득하다, 거머쥐다 이런 뜻이라고 설명을 드렸는데요. In the bag 그러면은 뭐가 보증되다, 확실하다 이런 뜻이에요. 그래서 스티브 선생님이 발표 나기 전에 이미 몇 개의 상은 확실히 이걸 수상할 것이다 이런 그런 확신이 있으셨다는 얘기를 하셨어요. Some of these prizes you knew were in the bag.
Yes, other ones, though, were wonderful surprises.
They really were. All right, well, on that note, thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, as always, for having me. Have a great day today, and I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, I'm going to push you out of the studio now, Steve. 네, 스티브 선생님 보내드리면서요. 노래 듣고 오겠습니다. Jennifer Lopez featuring Pitbull on the Floor 듣고 저는 2부에 돌아올게요.
Ya tú sabes, no hay más nada.